Something is different. You can feel it. Not in fantasy, not in obsession, not in imagination. In your body. There are moments in the twin flame journey when the energy does not move slowly. It shifts, and tonight carries that kind of threshold. This is not about predicting a random message. It is about recognizing when emotional pressure reaches a breaking point. Because when avoidance weakens, when silence stops regulating, when distance no longer feels stable, movement becomes inevitable. Sunday energy amplifies reflection. It lowers distraction. It reduces noise. It forces emotional confrontation. And when unresolved feelings meet quiet space, awareness activates. This is the type of night where internal resistance cracks, not always visibly, not always immediately, but internally. Something reorganizes. If you have felt emotional tension building lately, if the silence has felt heavier, if something inside you feels like it is about to shift, you are not imagining it. But this is the most important part. When energy moves, it does not only move in one direction. If contact happens, are you regulated? If realization happens, are you grounded? If silence breaks, are you centered? Because energetic shifts amplify everything. Stay with me. Tonight is not about chasing movement. It is about understanding what begins collapsing before movement appears, and what you must stabilize within yourself before the shift fully lands. What feels sudden is almost never sudden. In the twin flame dynamic, nothing shifts out of nowhere. What looks like an overnight realization, an unexpected message, or an emotional breakthrough is usually the visible result of something that has been building quietly for a long time. Energy accumulates before it moves. Suppressed emotion accumulates. Avoided conversations accumulate. Unresolved tension accumulates. Unexpressed longing accumulates. Nothing disappears just because it is not acknowledged. It stores. And when enough emotional energy has been stored without release, the nervous system reaches a threshold. An energetic threshold is not mystical. It is psychological and physiological. It is the moment when the old pattern can no longer regulate the system effectively. For weeks, sometimes months, silence may have worked. Distance may have created temporary calm. Distraction may have reduced emotional activation. But avoidance has a ceiling. When someone relies on emotional suppression to maintain control, they are borrowing stability from the future, and eventually, the emotional debt must be paid. This is where sudden movement begins. Not because someone randomly wakes up one night with clarity, but because their nervous system can no longer maintain the same level of suppression. When stored emotion reaches capacity, one of two things happens. Either avoidance intensifies or awareness activates. There is no third option. And here is what most people misunderstand. Energetic shifts do not create emotion. They expose what has already been accumulating beneath the surface. If silence has felt heavier recently, if distance has felt tense instead of neutral, if something in the field feels charged instead of quiet, that is not coincidence. That is pressure building. Pressure builds when someone keeps overriding their emotional truth. Pressure builds when longing is denied, when vulnerability is postponed, when connection is suppressed instead of processed, and when pressure reaches its limit, systems reorganize. That reorganization can look like contact. It can look like emotional confession. It can look like internal collapse. It can look like sudden clarity. But what it always represents is this: the old coping strategy stopped working. And when coping strategies fail, the nervous system seeks a new equilibrium. This is why some nights feel different. Not magical, unstable. There is a subtle restlessness in the field, an emotional charge that feels like something is about to surface. A sense that silence is no longer neutral. It feels active. That is what an energetic threshold feels like. It is the point where emotional containment becomes impossible. And Sunday energy often amplifies this because it reduces distraction. The week slows down, external noise decreases, reflection increases, and when reflection increases, suppressed emotion becomes louder. When someone who has been avoiding finally sits still long enough to feel, awareness can activate rapidly. Movement feels sudden only because suppression was gradual. The shift feels immediate only because denial was prolonged. This is the nature of thresholds. They are not dramatic at the beginning. They build invisibly until they don't. And when they tip, the internal structure that maintained silence destabilizes. The most important truth here is this: if something moves tonight, it will not be random. It will be the natural consequence of accumulated emotional pressure reaching its limit. The real question is not whether movement happens. The real question is whether you are regulated enough when it does. Because energetic shifts amplify everything. Emotion intensifies. Memory resurfaces. Desire becomes clearer. Fear becomes louder. thresholds do not create chaos. They reveal what has already been unstable. And once instability is revealed, the system must reorganize. That is how sudden movement is born, not from fantasy, from emotional saturation. There is a reason certain emotional realizations happen on Sundays. Not because the calendar is magical, but because the nervous system responds differently to slower environments. Throughout the week, distraction regulates avoidance. Work, conversations, noise, deadlines, movement. Distraction suppresses emotional material, but Sunday reduces external stimulation. The pace changes. The body slows down. Silence becomes louder. And when silence becomes louder, suppressed emotion becomes harder to ignore. This is not spiritual fantasy. It is psychological reality. When activity decreases, internal awareness increases. When external noise drops, internal dialogue intensifies. That is why many people experience reflection, regret, longing, or emotional clarity on Sundays. It is the only day the system cannot fully outrun itself. Avoidance relies on movement. Suppression relies on distraction. But Sunday energy removes speed. And when speed is removed, stored emotion surfaces. Divine Feminine, if you have felt tension building recently, Sunday can act like a magnifier. It amplifies whatever has been left unresolved. If there has been silence, it feels heavier. If there has been distance, it feels clearer. If there has been avoidance, it feels more obvious, because the nervous system finally has space to register what it has been postponing. Another important layer here is emotional memory. The body does not forget meaningful bonds, even if the mind tries to override them. During quieter periods, especially at the end of the week, emotional memory resurfaces. The mind asks questions it avoided earlier. Why does this still affect me? Why does the silence feel different tonight? What am I actually feeling? And when those questions emerge without distraction, awareness accelerates. Sunday often carries anticipatory energy as well. It represents transition, end of one cycle, beginning of another. Transitions activate evaluation, and evaluation activates emotional honesty. When someone has been maintaining control through distance, Sunday creates a vulnerability window. Control weakens when reflection increases. Suppression weakens when feeling is allowed to rise. This is where thresholds meet timing. If emotional pressure has already been building, and it has, Sunday becomes the container where that pressure intensifies. not because of mysticism, because of reduced noise. Divine Feminine, this is why you may feel subtle shifts before anything external happens. Restlessness, sudden memories, a surge of intuition, an emotional wave without clear trigger. You are not imagining it. When one nervous system destabilizes under suppression, the relational field shifts, even without contact. This is especially true when the internal resistance has been weakening over days or weeks. Sunday acts like a spotlight. It highlights instability in old coping strategies. Silence that once felt neutral now feels active. Distance that once felt safe now feels empty. Avoidance that once felt controlled now feels unsustainable. And when something feels unsustainable, movement becomes likely, not guaranteed. Likely because the body seeks regulation, and when avoidance stops regulating, expression becomes the next available option. Contact is one form of expression. Internal breakdown is another. Emotional realization is another. What matters is not the form. What matters is the destabilization of the old pattern. Sunday increases the probability of destabilization because it increases awareness. Awareness increases pressure. Pressure seeks release. That is the sequence. But here is the grounding truth. Energy amplifies what already exists. If the emotional field has been saturated, Sunday intensifies it. If nothing has been building, nothing will erupt. Movement does not appear without accumulation. It is always preceded by emotional saturation. And saturation is what creates thresholds. Before movement happens externally, something destabilizes internally. No one suddenly wakes up and changes direction without internal reorganization first. Sudden contact is rarely spontaneous. It is usually the final stage of internal pressure exceeding resistance. Inside the divine masculine, shifts begin quietly. At first, it is subtle discomfort. Silence that once felt controlled starts to feel heavy. Distance that once created relief starts to feel hollow. Distraction that once worked begins to lose effectiveness. This is not longing yet. It is destabilization. When avoidance stops regulating the nervous system, agitation begins. The body senses inconsistency between emotional truth and external behavior. And that inconsistency creates internal friction. Friction creates awareness. One of the first shifts is the loss of emotional neutrality. He may have convinced himself that everything was stable. That distance was the correct choice. That silence was maturity. But when the nervous system stops calming down through avoidance, that narrative weakens. And when the narrative weakens, doubt appears. Not doubt about you, doubt about himself. Why does this still affect me? Why does it feel unresolved? Why does silence feel louder tonight? This questioning is not weakness. It is destabilization of suppression. Another shift that begins internally is emotional recall. Memories surface unexpectedly. Moments replay. Conversations resurface. Not romantically, but vividly. Because emotional memory activates when resistance drops. When distraction fades, stored experiences rise. The body refeels what the mind tried to file away. And that refeeling is powerful. The next shift is the collapse of false control. Avoidance gave him timing control. He could decide when to respond, when to engage, when to disappear. But once internal agitation grows, that control becomes fragile. Because emotional activation does not respect ego timing. When emotion pushes forward, control weakens. Divine feminine, this is when the internal structure starts to crack. Not dramatically, gradually. The old coping strategy, distance, no longer guarantees stability. And when a coping strategy fails, the system searches for a new form of regulation. That is the critical turning point. The body prefers regulation over pride. It prefers coherence over control. So when silence stops regulating, the system seeks expression. Expression can look like contact. It can look like emotional confession. It can look like impulsive movement. Or it can look like emotional collapse. But internally, the same mechanism is operating. Suppression reached capacity. Another internal shift is the amplification of longing mixed with fear. Longing surfaces because connection still lives in the nervous system. Fear surfaces because vulnerability feels risky. This creates internal tension. And tension intensifies when there is no distraction. Sunday intensifies this because there is more stillness, more space, more awareness. And when awareness increases, resistance becomes visible. Resistance that was unconscious now feels obvious. The realization begins forming. Silence is not peace. Distance is not healing. Avoidance is not growth. That realization does not happen intellectually. It happens somatically. The body feels misaligned. And when the body feels misaligned long enough, it demands correction. that is when sudden movement becomes possible. Not because of fantasy, because of regulation failure. When the nervous system can no longer tolerate the emotional gap it created, it seeks relief. Relief may mean reaching out. Relief may mean breaking the silence. Relief may mean confronting what has been avoided, but relief always follows pressure. The important thing to understand is this: external action is usually the final symptom of internal collapse. By the time something happens outwardly, it has already been happening inwardly for days, possibly weeks. That is why shifts feel immediate, but they are never instant. They are accumulated. Divine Feminine, when you sense that something is changing in the field, it is often because internal resistance has weakened, and weakened resistance creates movement. The shift does not begin with contact. It begins with destabilization, and destabilization is already movement. Avoidance works until it doesn't. At first, distance reduces activation. Silence lowers intensity. Distraction numbs discomfort. The nervous system interprets reduced stimulation as safety. But safety built on absence is temporary. When someone uses avoidance as their primary regulation strategy, they are not resolving emotion. They are postponing it. Postponed emotion does not disappear. It accumulates, and the nervous system keeps score. Avoidance stops regulating when internal pressure exceeds the calming effect of distance. At that point, the body begins to feel misaligned. Restlessness increases. Sleep becomes inconsistent. Thoughts circle. Emotional neutrality disappears. The person may still appear composed externally, but internally, regulation weakens. Because the strategy that once worked no longer produces the same physiological calm. The brain is wired to seek equilibrium. When a coping mechanism fails, the system searches for another way to restore balance. This is the destabilization phase. Instead of calm, silence creates agitation. Instead of relief, distance creates tension. Instead of clarity, suppression creates confusion. That confusion is not about you. It is about the collapse of emotional suppression. The nervous system prefers coherence over control. And when avoidance creates incoherence, when the body feels disconnected from emotional truth, regulation breaks down. This breakdown can look subtle at first. Increased irritability, unexplained emotional waves, heightened sensitivity, sudden recall of memories. These are not random, They are signs that suppression is weakening. When someone has been overriding their emotional truth, the body eventually pushes back. It demands integration, and integration requires feeling. This is the uncomfortable stage, because feeling means vulnerability. And vulnerability is what avoidance was protecting against. Divine Feminine, when avoidance stops regulating, internal tension intensifies quickly. There is less distraction to buffer it, especially on slower days, especially during reflective windows, especially when external noise decreases. The body begins to ask for resolution, and resolution requires action. That action may not be immediate, but the pressure for it increases. Another important shift happens here. The illusion of control collapses. Avoidance gives the impression of power. If I don't engage, I control the situation. But when the body remains activated despite disengagement, that illusion fractures. Because emotional activation does not respond to ego timing. It responds to truth. When truth is suppressed long enough, it surfaces through agitation. Agitation forces awareness. Awareness forces choice. The nervous system can only remain in suppression mode for so long before fatigue sets in. Emotional fatigue is destabilizing. It makes silence harder to maintain. It makes distance feel heavier. It makes unresolved emotion louder. And when unresolved emotion becomes louder than fear, movement becomes possible. The key moment is this. Avoidance stops working when the discomfort of staying silent becomes greater than the discomfort of breaking it. That is the pivot. That is the threshold. This is not about romantic impulse. It is about physiological regulation. The body seeks relief, and relief may require expression. Expression restores alignment. Silence no longer does. Divine Feminine, this is why shifts can feel sudden. Because once the nervous system loses confidence in avoidance, it rapidly searches for a new equilibrium. That search can produce contact. It can produce confession. It can produce collapse. But it cannot produce neutrality. Neutrality only exists while suppression works. Once suppression fails, instability begins. And instability precedes movement. The important truth is this. When avoidance stops regulating the nervous system, change is no longer optional. It becomes necessary, not spiritually, biologically. And when change becomes necessary, something moves. Contact rarely begins with courage. It begins with pressure, not romantic pressure, emotional pressure. Before someone breaks silence, something inside them reaches saturation. Saturation is the point where holding everything in becomes more exhausting than expressing it. That is the stage most people do not see. They only see the message. They do not see the internal tension that preceded it. Emotional pressure builds in layers. First, there is suppression. Then there is restlessness. Then there is mental looping. Then there is physiological activation. The body becomes charged. When silence is maintained too long, thoughts begin to circle. What if I handled it wrong? What if this is unfinished? What if distance is not solving anything? These thoughts are not dramatic. They are destabilizing. The more someone tries to ignore them, the louder they become. Emotional pressure increases when three things happen simultaneously. The coping strategy weakens. Emotional memory resurfaces. Distraction decreases. That combination creates intensity. Intensity creates urgency. Urgency creates movement. Before contact, there is often a spike in emotional awareness. Memories feel sharper. Regret feels heavier. Longing feels more specific. Not because love suddenly increased, but because resistance weakened. Resistance consumes energy. And once resistance begins collapsing, all the stored emotion rises at once. That rise feels overwhelming, and overwhelm seeks relief. Relief often looks like expression. Expression may be a message, a call, an emotional confession, an impulsive reach out. But externally visible movement is usually the final release valve of internal pressure. There is also another layer. When emotional pressure builds long enough, the mind loses its ability to rationalize silence. The narrative cracks. Staying distant is mature. Silence is safer. Time will fix this. Those justifications lose stability. And when justification weakens, emotion takes the lead. Divine Feminine, right before contact, there is often a nervous system spike, heightened heart rate, sleep disturbance, mental replay, increased sensitivity. This is not romance. It is activation. Activation that demands regulation. If silence no longer regulates, expression becomes the next available option. Another critical element of this stage is fear mixed with desire. Fear of vulnerability, desire for relief, fear of rejection, desire for resolution. That internal conflict intensifies pressure, and conflict cannot be sustained indefinitely. At some point, one force outweighs the other. When the desire for relief outweighs the fear of vulnerability, contact becomes likely, not guaranteed, likely, because the nervous system always prioritizes relief. Contact is often less about romance and more about emotional regulation. It is an attempt to stabilize what feels unstable. That is why contact can feel sudden. But it is never spontaneous. It is built through days of internal agitation, built through weakening resistance, built through rising emotional saturation. And when saturation peaks, something releases. Sometimes that release is messy. Sometimes it is brief. Sometimes it is impulsive, but it is rarely random. It is the body trying to restore equilibrium. The important thing to understand is this: pressure always precedes movement. If movement happens tonight, it will not be magic. It will be the visible sign that internal containment failed. And containment only fails when truth becomes louder than fear. When energy shifts, intensity increases. Not just for him, for you. That is the part most people overlook. They prepare for contact emotionally, but they do not prepare physiologically. And when something finally moves, their nervous system spikes. Heart rate rises, breathing shortens. Thoughts accelerate, emotion floods. Even if you have been calm for weeks. Energetic shifts amplify what is already present in the field. If there has been silence, the break in silence can feel overwhelming. If there has been longing, contact can trigger emotional waves. If there has been tension, expression can feel destabilizing. This is why regulation matters more than anticipation. Divine Feminine, if movement happens tonight or soon, the most important thing is not how quickly you respond. It is how grounded you remain. When pressure releases on one side, it can transfer activation to the other. That is relational nervous system attunement. If his internal pressure builds and releases through contact, your system may feel the spike. You may feel urgency to answer immediately, to explain everything, to express everything, to resolve everything at once. That is activation. And activation does not create clarity. Regulation does. Regulation means slowing down your breathing before responding. Regulation means feeling your feet on the floor. Regulation means allowing the first emotional wave to pass before making decisions. Intensity is not alignment. Intensity is a signal. If contact happens from a place of emotional pressure, it may not be stable yet. It may be reactive. It may be incomplete. It may be vulnerable but fragile. Your role is not to match intensity. Your role is to anchor stability. The strongest position in any energetic shift is grounded presence, not emotional flooding, not defensive reaction, not overexpression. Grounded presence communicates safety. Safety lowers activation. Lower activation allows clarity. Another important truth: if contact happens, do not interpret it as resolution. Movement does not equal transformation. It signals destabilization of avoidance, not guaranteed maturity. Stay steady, observe tone, observe consistency, observe nervous system cues. Do not project future meaning onto present movement. Energetic shifts open doors. They do not build foundations instantly divine. Feminine, if silence breaks, let the moment breathe. Do not rush to fix the past. Do not rush to define the future. Allow the present to stabilize. Your nervous system sets the tone for the interaction. If you remain centered, the field stabilizes. If you become reactive, intensity escalates. Remember this: pressure created the movement. Stability must sustain it. If nothing happens tonight, remain stable anyway. Because regulation is not preparation for contact. It is preparation for self-trust. The true energetic shift is not just external movement. It is your ability to remain calm when movement appears. When you can receive without collapsing. When you can respond without rushing. When you can feel without losing grounding. That is alignment. And alignment is what turns sudden movement into real change. When something shifts, it can feel instantaneous. A message arrives, silence breaks, energy changes, and the mind immediately labels it as sudden. But what feels sudden is usually the final visible stage of a process that has been unfolding invisibly. Emotional change rarely happens in one moment. It accumulates in micro-fractures. Small doubts, small realizations, small destabilizations. At first, those fractures are barely noticeable. Silence still feels manageable. Distance still feels justified. Avoidance still feels controlled. But every suppressed emotion leaves a trace. Every ignored impulse leaves pressure. Every unexpressed thought adds weight. Over time, that weight becomes structural. The old coping strategy begins to crack under its own tension. The person may not consciously acknowledge it, but internally, recalibration is happening. Resistance weakens gradually. Emotional memory resurfaces in fragments. Awareness flickers in moments of quiet. The nervous system experiments with new thoughts. What if distance isn't helping? What if silence is making it worse? What if I need to face this? These are not dramatic awakenings. They are small internal openings. And those openings widen over days, sometimes weeks. Then one night, something tips. The tipping point feels immediate, but it was constructed slowly. Think of it like structural stress in a bridge. Pressure builds invisibly beneath the surface. From the outside, everything looks intact. Then one day, a crack becomes visible. The crack was not created that day. It was revealed that day. That is how energetic movement works. When someone finally reaches out, it is rarely because of a single thought. It is because accumulated internal instability reached capacity. Capacity is the key word. The nervous system can only suppress for so long. It can only override emotional truth for so long. It can only maintain distance while feeling connection for so long. When those limits are reached, expression becomes relief. Relief feels urgent. Urgency feels sudden. But urgency was built slowly. Divine Feminine, understanding this protects you from fantasy. If movement happens, it is not a miracle. It is a threshold release. It does not mean everything transformed instantly. It means internal containment failed. That distinction matters. Because when something feels sudden, it can trigger emotional flooding. You may think everything changed overnight, but nothing changes overnight. What changes overnight is visibility. The process began long before the visible action. The silence you endured was not empty. It was accumulating tension. The distance was not neutral. It was testing endurance. The avoidance was not static. It was weakening under pressure. Sudden movement is simply the visible sign that its internal resistance lost the battle. That is why sometimes shifts cluster around certain nights. When emotional pressure aligns with stillness, the tipping point accelerates. Stillness exposes instability. Exposure creates release. Release creates movement. The key understanding here is stability after movement matters more than the movement itself. Because when something has been built slowly, it must also be integrated slowly. If pressure created contact, patience must create sustainability. Movement is not the climax. It is the beginning of recalibration. And recalibration requires grounded awareness. Sudden does not mean spontaneous. It means accumulated. And accumulated emotional energy always finds expression. When we say, It will happen tonight. We are not speaking about destiny forcing an event. We are speaking about thresholds. We are speaking about saturation. We are speaking about the moment when the old pattern can no longer sustain itself. It will happen tonight does not mean the universe schedules a message. It means internal resistance is reaching its limit. And when resistance reaches its limit, something shifts. That shift might be visible, or it might be internal. But either way, the structure that maintained silence destabilizes. Most people interpret movement as proof of love, proof of destiny, proof of inevitability. But movement is not proof of permanence. It is proof of pressure. Pressure reached capacity. Containment failed. Expression followed. That is what tonight represents. It represents the culmination of buildup. A night is simply a container for accumulated emotion. When distraction lowers and stillness rises, stored feelings become louder. If emotional pressure has been building for days, tonight may simply be the moment when it surfaces. But here is the grounded truth. If nothing visible happens tonight, something may still have shifted. Internal awareness can activate without immediate action. Emotional realization can occur before expression. The field can reorganize before contact. It will happen tonight does not promise outcome. It describes readiness. Readiness for movement. Readiness for destabilization. Readiness for emotional truth to override avoidance. Divine Feminine, the deeper meaning of this phrase is not about him. It is about alignment. Are you prepared for movement? Are you stable if silence breaks? Are you grounded if emotion floods? Are you steady if nothing happens? Preparation is not about anticipation. It is about nervous system regulation. When energy shifts, intensity amplifies. If you are anchored, intensity becomes clarity. If you are reactive, intensity becomes chaos. The real energetic shift tonight may not be a message. It may be your refusal to collapse emotionally if one comes. It may be your calm response. It may be your measured pace. It may be your decision not to overinterpret. That is maturity. When we say something will happen tonight, what we are really acknowledging is this: the old equilibrium is unstable. Silence is heavier. Distance is less neutral. Avoidance is less effective. Something must reorganize. Reorganization is not always loud, but it is irreversible. Once avoidance weakens, it does not regain its original power easily. Once awareness activates, it cannot fully retreat. That is the shift. The shift is not fireworks. It is structural. The old way of coping becomes unsustainable. And when a coping structure collapses, the system must evolve or fracture. But it cannot remain suspended. Tonight symbolizes culmination. It symbolizes emotional saturation, reaching visibility. It symbolizes readiness. Whether that readiness expresses externally or internally, something has already moved. And the most powerful truth is this: the most important shift is not his action, it is your stability. Because when you remain steady during destabilization, the field recalibrates around strength instead of chaos. And that is what true preparation looks like. Not waiting, not fantasizing, not predicting, but standing grounded when pressure releases. That is the real meaning of "it will happen tonight." Not inevitability, but threshold. And thresholds always lead to change.